I was watching a podcast the other day, Craig, and I think this is interesting, and I don't know. I mean, this seemed like a reasonable solution. Is if you look at the statistics from like back in the 70s, right, which is really when they started building a lot of houses. I mean, they built, way more houses. I don't know the exact number, but way more houses in the 70s than they're building right now. I mean, if you look at a graph, it's like we were way up here and now we're way down here. And that hasn't changed since really the crash back in '08. I mean, builders just have not come back in force. But what was more interesting, and I think something we should really look at, is that what they are building are significantly larger houses. You look at the number of homes that was built in the 70s that were 1,300 square feet or 1,400 square feet and less. There was a lot of them, and you look at a lot of older neighborhoods, affordable housing was, 1,100 to 1,400 square foot. The first house that I even bought back in the 90s was 1,355 square foot. And I thought it was a mansion, to me, and I was in my early 20s. It was a starter home, right? I bought it with my girlfriend at the time. That didn't work out. That's another story. But, the thought was I could, potentially get married, start a family here in a 1,350 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home. But if you look at what most builders are building, it's not that today. It's 2,500 square foot, or even you see a lot in that even higher end market. And I feel like not only are the number of homes being built lower than it's ever been, the amount of affordable homes that are being built. So I think if the government was going to do anything, like let's give subsidies to builders or communities or people that are willing to dedicate land tracts for homes that are that are smaller. And I don't mean everyone should like move into a small home. Look, I don't live in a small home. I love my house. My wife thinks it's a little too big because she does most of the cleaning, but I like it, But it's also not my first house. I started with a much smaller house. The second house I bought was a little bit bigger, but it was a daylight basement. It was dated. I had to renovate it, you know. And like this is a normal progression. And each of those homes I made money on. I made equity, and I got to use it to buy the next home. And what we've done right now is we've taken these young people like my kids who are, one just graduated high school, one's graduating this year, and they're going to go to college, and you start thinking about what are they going to do in 4 or 5 years to buy a home. Dude, that's scary to think, It's like we need to start focusing on, I think, those entry-level homes. There's definitely some builders that do that, but the statistics show us that it's an underfunded. There's not enough happening for that entry-level buyer.
Absolutely.
And that's where a lot of the demand is, So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I thought it was a good solution, and I'd like to see if the government, they talked about, $25,000 tax credits for first-time home. How about we give tax credits to incent people to buy homes that are affordable?
Right. Well, and we know that, real estate is the vessel for, equity and wealth. And ultimately, if we can try to figure out some sort of way where the government can be of assistance, I think that you're right. That is the solution that we need. Otherwise, can they lower rates? But I think ultimately they're concerned with the economy and what that will do. So it's a give and a pull, and I don't really know what is going to happen, but I think that the upcoming months are going to be a little bit telling for 2025 and the years to come.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do a lot to intentionally lower interest rates. I think interest rates will naturally come down. I think they have to come down, but I don't see a lot of stimulus, if you will, to help that happen. Things could change, but I just don't see that happening.